Hi, my name is Dr. Anu Räisänen, and on this video I'm going to give you a short introduction to the Intervention Mapping Protocol, Step 5, and how you can use that to create a plan to implement sport injury prevention methods. Intervention mapping is a protocol for intervention development, and it is based on the work of Bartholomew and colleagues. Step 5 of the protocol focuses on creating a plan for implementation activities, and it can be used independently even if the other steps of intervention mapping were not used. Step 5 of the intervention mapping protocol is composed of 7 tasks. The first task is to identify potential intervention adapters and implementers. The purpose of this task is to identify the individuals and the organizations that would be involved in the implementation or would have the potential to influence implementation success. In the examples, I am referencing an article by Donaldson and colleagues. I will provide the full reference in the end of the video. In this paper, the authors describe how they created an implementation plan for the Footy First program, which is an injury prevention exercise program designed to prevent lower extremity injuries in community Australian football. To complete this task, Donaldson and colleagues set out to answer the question, who will decide to use the Footy First and who will actually deliver Footy First to the players. They determined that league, club, and team administrators have an important role as the gatekeepers who can influence whether or not the Footy First will be implemented. Club coaches will be the individuals delivering the program to the players. The next task is to ensure that the planning group includes representation from potential intervention users and gatekeepers. The purpose is to link the intervention developers to the intervention adopters. The Footy First team started by gaining endorsements from both the national and state level administrators. The key messages that were communicated were that lower extremity injuries are a significant problem in community Australian football. An evidence-based training program could prevent injuries, and intervention is only worthwhile if it is used widely and implemented well. The national and state level administrators helped to recruit influential coaches and other change makers to join the implementation advisory group. The third task is to state intervention outcomes and specify adoption and implementation performance objectives. Adoption refers to the decision to use a new program, and implementation refers to the continued use of the program as it is intended to be used. The purpose of the third task is to describe what the implementation activities should accomplish. In the Footy First, outcomes were set for reach, adoption, and implementation. The reach outcome was that coaches would be aware of the Footy First program. The adoption outcome was that coaches would deliver the program to their players. And the implementation outcome was that coaches would deliver Footy First as intended, on a regular basis with high exercise fidelity, meaning that exercises are completed as intended and with good technique. Task 4 is to specify the determinants of intervention adoption and implementation. The purpose of this task is to identify what will influence whether or not coaches perform the actions needed to accomplish the desired outcomes. In Footy First implementation, internal and external factors were identified. Internal or personal factors were coaches' knowledge, skills, and beliefs. External or environmental factors were team, club, and league environments. Task 5 is to identify change objectives for REACH, adoption, and implementation. For this task, a matrix of change objectives is created. Purpose is to link REACH, adoption, and implementation objectives created in Task 3 to the determinants created in Task 4. In the matrix of change, the outcome is on the row. Here you can see an example of the implementation outcome: coaches implement Footy First. The internal and external determinants are on the columns. The change objectives go under each determinant. For example, coaches know how to implement Footy First. They have skills to do it. They believe other coaches will implement the program, and they receive external encouragement for implementing the Footy First. Task 6 is to select methods and practical applications for intervention adoption and implementation. Purpose is to identify methods and practical applications to achieve the change objectives. In Footy First, 2 questions were considered when the intervention advisory group brainstormed potential strategies. What could be done to help, support, or encourage coaches to achieve the agreed change objectives? Why is a particular implementation strategy likely to work? The methods presented here in the circles are just some examples. A lot more are mentioned in the article. After potential methods and applications had been listed, the diffusion of innovations theory and implementation drivers framework were used to guide the review of the brainstormed implementation strategies. The final task is to design the activities for intervention, REACH, adoption, and implementation. The purpose is to develop and produce materials and resources which can be used to put the design strategies into practice. Here you can see some examples of the activities and resources that were designed and created for Footy First. That's all. Thanks for watching, and please check out these references for more information.